What is up, everybody? What we're going to do in this video is talk about the MLB All-Star Game. So depending on when you're watching this, I'm recording this and posting this on Monday. Could be tomorrow night, could be tonight, but regardless, the MLB All-Star Game is upon us, and I'm going to give you guys my official predictions for this game. Now, I am going to give you who I think is going to win. I'm going to give you my thoughts on the total as well, but I'm going to spend the bulk of the video giving you my analysis on the MVP and then on who I like to hit home runs as well. I have my official MVP prediction, and then I'm going to give you guys a backup MVP prediction as well. And then I have 3 guys worthy of taking to hit a home run. Just take them at a lower unit size, of course, because it's going to be very difficult for a home run to be hit in this game, let alone predicting one. But we do have the All-Star Game tonight, obviously AL versus NL. In terms of who I think is going to win, I actually think it's going to be the NL. I know the AL has won like 10 out of the last 11 All-Star games. The NL won 2 years ago, and then the AL did win last year. But when you look at these rosters, top to bottom, I just think that the NL roster is better. Now, to be very clear, I'm not betting it. It's too much of an unknown for me to put actual money on it. But I do think that the NL is going to win. I also think this game is going to go under. Now, the total across pretty much every sports book is at 7, so it's an incredibly low total, and a 4-3 game just pushes, doesn't even win. But I mean, it's the best pitchers, and generally the saying goes, good pitching beats good hitting. 5 out of the last 7 All-Star games have gone under the projected total. Now, last year did go over. The year before that, the final score was 3-2, so it went under, and it wasn't super close that it went under as well. And then again, 5 of the last 7 games have gone under. But again, I'm not putting any money on either the winner or the total, but if you guys wanted to tail those, you can. In terms of the MVP, that's where I'm going to begin my analysis. Now, when it comes to analyzing the MVP market for the All-Star Game, there are some things that you can look to. Now, number one, it's a crapshoot. It is almost impossible to predict who's going to win the MVP. None of these players play the entire game. The odds definitely reflect that. And I will say before we get into it, you should check your sportsbook because not every single state offers the MVP market. Some do, some don't. So check your sportsbook. If you can't bet the MVP, my apologies, but still watch the video because that would help me out a lot. But generally, the MVP award comes down to a reserve batter who comes up with some sort of clutch late inning heroics. And that's impossible to predict. We can kind of predict who's going to be in the game late, but we have no idea who is going to be in that clutch situation. Last year, the winner of the MVP was Jarren Duran. He broke a 5th inning tie with the home run. That ended up being the decisive run. That home run he hit in the 5th inning. 2 years ago, it was Rockies catcher, and I'm guessing nobody even remembers who this guy is, but Elias Diaz won the MVP 2 years ago because similar to Jarren Duran, he hit a late game home run. That was in the 8th inning. That decided the game. It was like 2-2 in the 8th inning, and he hit a solo home run. He won MVP because of that. So it's really hard to know, A, who's going to be in the game late. Yes, we can look at the reserves, but we don't know which of the reserves are going to be in the late games and who's going to have that moment. And we don't even know who's going to come up in a clutch situation. So just kind of want to preface that. One position that we can almost entirely rule out are the pitchers, right? It's incredibly unlikely for a pitcher to win the award. Only 2 have won the award since the year 2000. Shane Bieber won in 2019, and Mariano Rivera won in 2013. But, and this is very important, both pitchers won in their home stadium. So the game was in Cleveland in 2019 for Shane Bieber. It was in Yankee Stadium for 2013 for Mariano Rivera. And that was Mariano Rivera's last year in the league. We knew he was going to retire. So it was somewhat of a sentimental MVP in both of those situations. And we don't have any Braves pitcher in the game tonight. Now, Matt Olson, Ronald Acuna will be playing, but it's not going to be a Braves pitcher that's going to have that sentimental big moment in front of his home crowd. So one way, in my opinion, to narrow down the field, look at the reserves bats. That is where you're going to find the best value. Everybody's going to want to bet the starters, and obviously a starter can still win. You know, Aaron Judge hits a 3-run home run, goes 2 for 2, whatever. He's going to win MVP, of course. I'm not saying that this is foolproof. It's just kind of a way to narrow everything down. My favorite official play to win the MVP is Elly De La Cruz. Now, depending on your book, I saw him at plus 7,500, but again, not every book even offers the MVP odds, the MVP odds. But I really like the logic on Elly to win MVP. Again, these things are a shot in the dark, so all I'm really trying to do here, put ourselves in the best position to have a batter with the possibility of coming up late in the game for the team I think is going to win. That's the NL. That's Elly De La Cruz. Now, what I like about Elly is that he can impact the game in multiple different ways. You know, his power numbers, he's not going to look like Shohei Ohtani or Aaron Judge, but he can hit home runs. He's got 18 home runs on the year. His power numbers are okay. Above 200 ISO rate is acceptable, but he could have a huge play in the field, a double play. He could throw somebody out at home. He threw a baseball like 90 miles an hour to throw someone at home out this year. And he's a really good base runner as well. So maybe he walks or hits a single, steals second base, and then is brought home on a single because of how fast he is, impacts the game that way. So I just think there are a lot of different ways in which Elly can impact the game, which is why I think he is worthy of being taken for the MVP. Another thing that I like is he's the only reserve shortstop on the NL. So possibly, maybe, I'm not saying this is guaranteed, maybe we can steal some more plate appearances for him than some of the other reserves. Now, obviously, that depends how long the starter, Francisco Lindor, stays in the game. Lindor is awesome. But there are 5 infield reserve spots and 4 reserve outfielders. But none of the infield reserve spots, none of them play shortstop. So we don't really know how the fielding and stuff is going to be deployed. It's going to be a little bit of a mystery. So I do think that we get the possibility, again, of Elly playing a little bit more. That would also apply to the catchers on both sides as well. There's only one reserve catcher, but Hunter Goodman and Alejandro Kirk I didn't love for MVP, which is why I stuck with Elly. That's my logic. Feel free to agree or disagree. I'm not pretending that this logic is foolproof. It's MVP of an all-star game, so a lot of it is going to be hit or miss. But in terms of the home runs, there are 2 guys that I like to hit a home run. Now, with Elly as an MVP pick, I do think it makes sense to take him to hit a home run as well, because if we're taking him MVP, what if it does come on a late home run and we're able to double down? But aside from him, there are 2 other batters that I like, one in the AL and one in the NL. Now, one of them is incredibly chalk. It's Cal Raleigh to hit a home run. FanDuel is giving him to you at plus 600s. Plus 600 at FanDuel. It doesn't really take a genius to talk about why I like Cal Raleigh to hit a home run. He leads the MLB in home runs. He is phenomenal. And you look into all his metrics. It truly is remarkable how good Cal Raleigh is. He's in the 90th percentile in terms of bat speed. So he's not among the best, but in the top 10 percentile, that's really good. But you go even deeper than that. He's got the 5th best barrel rate in the entire MLB. A barrel rate of 20% is phenomenal. That's fantastic. And not only that, he's got the #1 pull rate and the #1 fly ball rate as well. You want to know why he leads the league in home runs? Is because he does a phenomenal job of barreling the ball up. He does a phenomenal job of putting the ball in the air, and he does a phenomenal job of pulling it. The reason why the pull rate is important for a home run, because if you pull the ball, well, not even if you pull it, if you hit the ball to not center field, which generally, if you're not going to hit it to center field, the most likely is you pull it. You don't have to hit the ball as far for that to be a home run. Outfields are shorter. The non-center field part, right? The right field, the left field goes from the pole as the shortest, and then it goes from there. So if you're able to pull the ball and pull the ball in the air, which Cal Raleigh does at literally the best rate in the entire MLB, then yeah, you're going to be a really good home run hitter. He also, I like the fact that he's a switch hitter. So is Elly, so that is a bonus for Elly as well. Now, they're more like Francisco Lindor is a switch hitter, so it's not like, oh, just bet all the switch hitters and that's all you need to do. But I do think that in an all-star game situation where a bunch of different pitchers are cycling through, it's going to be righty, it's going to be lefty, it's going to be random. When you're backing a switch hitter, you can always back on getting the optimal batter versus pitcher handedness. So you're always going to get Cal Raleigh batting righty against a lefty. You're always going to get him batting lefty against a righty. And Cal Raleigh mashes both sides of the plate. It's not like he is significantly better, or I should say, it's not like he is bad against one. You look at his power numbers, he's got better power numbers against lefties. His ISO rate against lefties is like 500, which is insane. Against righties, it's still above 300, which is really, really good. So yeah, no one's going to give you this type of analysis, but Cal Raleigh is a really good home run hitter. The other guy that I like is Ketel Marte to hit a home run, who is at plus 900 odds at FanDuel. One characteristic that he shares with both Cal Raleigh and Elly, he's also a switch hitter. He can also mash both sides of the plate. He's not quite, obviously, as good as Cal Raleigh, but And it's funny because historically, Cattell has much better numbers against lefties. This year, that's actually reversed. His numbers against lefties are still good. It's an ISO rate above 200, so it's well within the range that we look for. With his ISO rate against righties even higher than that. And you look at Ketel Marte, he spent some time injured this year, so his actual like how many home runs he has hit is not going to compare with Raleigh or Judge or Ohtani or even like Suarez or Kyle Schwarber or anything like that. But you look at his like percentage numbers, and they're really, really good. His ISO rate would actually be the 10th best in the entire MLB if he had played enough, if he had enough at bats to qualify. The 10th best ISO rate's like 280, 279. And then his barrel rate is also in the excellent threshold at 15%. And that's kind of what I'm looking for in a situation like this is he is also a reserve. Ketel Marte is. So, you know, he might be able to play more at bats as well, depending. It really just depends on how they do the fielding and the starters and stuff. But he's a switch hitter who's good against both sides. And his numbers, again, from a percentage perspective, are fantastic. They're really, really good. So Ketel Marte plus 900, Cal Raleigh plus 600, and then again, lock in Elly De La Cruz as well if you want, since we have him as the MVP. Those are my All-Star Game predictions. Agree, disagree, let me know in the comments. I appreciate all the feedback, even if you disagree. I love reading through the feedback as long as it's not like this guy stinks. But I appreciate everybody for watching. Make sure to like the video, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Make sure to bet responsibly, especially for a game like this, and have a good one.